Hello and welcome to Finextra TV. I'm Hannah Wallace and we're speaking in the lead up to Singapore Fintech Festival. With me now in the virtual studio is Professor David Lee, Chairman of the Global FinTech Institute. So welcome, David. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me here.
Really good to have you on. And like I say, we're speaking in the lead up to Singapore Fintech Festival, where you'll be very busy and joining a roundtable as well to discuss the advancement of financing and investment for digital inclusion, which is the topic of our interview today. So building off that roundtable, could you bring us up to date? What's been the progress you've seen as chairman of the Global FinTech Institute towards ensuring digital inclusion? And tell us, where are we up to as an industry?
Yeah, I think we have made a lot of progress in fintech. There's been a lot of activities in mobile banking, digital wallets, peer-to-peer lending, and a lot of other services has been provided to the underserved and unserved without the intermediaries. And I'm also seeing at Global FinTech Institute a lot of new financial education for empowerment. In Singapore and elsewhere, we see a lot of regulatory support, especially for consumer protection, regulation a lot clearer, especially in Asia. There are also sandboxes and frameworks for, most importantly, digital identity, because without identity and good know your customer system, you're not able to bring a lot of people and on board them to the financial system. So we have seen a lot of interesting regulatory support this part of the world. Of course, challenges remains as usual. There have been a lot of progress on cybersecurity and data privacy from especially the Web3 community, but they're still lacking in the financial inclusion metrics. People are working very hard on the blockchain space to see how we could record a lot of data to ensure that it's immutable, and that is still in progress. But the positive thing is that we are seeing a lot of projects and collaboration among governments, especially for cross-border payments, payments versus payment, payments versus delivery. There's a lot of experiment ongoing to reduce the cost of cross-border remittances. I think that is the most important, especially in this part of the world where there are a lot of guest workers in many countries.
Well, thank you very much for bringing us up to date. You've highlighted some significant developments there. And as you say, there has been some impressive progress made, but of course, some challenges as well. So I'm interested to hear off the back of that then, what are the wider financial implications of digital inclusion, and whereabouts are you seeing that impact?
Well, I think with all those new technology, we are seeing an increased access to credit. With blockchain, with identity, with livestock being tagged and so on. We are also seeing that insurance coming into the picture, where just give an example, for livestock and for agricultural products, you are seeing that a lot of these products are being tagged by blockchain, being traced by blockchain from the farm all the way to the shelf. And even in the farm where livestock are being tagged, insurance companies are more willing to lend to the farmers when they're beginning to require some credit, when they run into some health issues or family problems, and that reduces the cost of lending. And this reduction in the cost of financial services is very important, especially for the bottom of the pyramid. And also with increased use of digital tracing and with transparency, the risk assessment and credit scoring is improving. And with this improvement, you're seeing a lot more SME being able to have access to credit, and that actually stimulates the financial inclusion sector. We also seeing countries like Cambodia. They have used blockchain for their payment system, the national payment system, to complement the real-time gross settlement system by the National Bank of Cambodia. By doing that, you have instant settlement, And having instant settlement actually reduces the settlement risk and counterparty risk. And with that, you lower the reserve requirement for any licensed institutions to join the payment system. So we are seeing a lot of corporate inclusion as well, besides inclusion for individual. And I think that is also spilling over to cross-border transaction. You see that Project Bakun of Cambodia now having payment system with Maybank, and a lot of experiments are happening in Singapore. You have heard that over the last 2 years in Singapore for the FinTech Festival, but you hear a lot more in 2023 Singapore Fintech Festival.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to hearing about some of those experiments. And thank you for sharing those examples of where we're seeing the implications of digital inclusion. Staying on the theme of sharing examples then, are there any standout examples of both products and the platforms that are having the greatest impact on digital inclusion? And where do you see that going in the future?
Yeah, I think we are seeing a lot of public-private partnership. Government is taking quite a few governments in Asia that taking the initiative to work with private sectors. So in Singapore, we have been doing that since 2016 with Project Ubin. As time goes on, you hear a lot about other projects like Project Nexus for remittances. You hear about Project Guardian for payments versus delivery, tokenization, and Project Dunbar, and so on. There are many projects that are ongoing in Singapore, in Thailand, in Hong Kong, also for multi-country central bank digital currencies. But more importantly, I think, is education. And in Singapore, we have the SME Financial Empowerment Program by Proxtera, working with Global FinTech Institute. We started having digital literacy program, especially for SMEs. Education is very important because in many places, a lot of SME, they are not aware of the importance of their contribution in terms of data, their own actions, their own reactions to borrowing, their own reactions for buying insurance, their own actions in their supply chain, financing, and so on, actually helps them to reduce their borrowing costs. So through education, we are trying to bring those messages across that all the data they are contributing, they are assets, and you could use that to your advantage. And with all this program and certification, they're able to harness the technology for their own operations as well as the financial activities. The other side of it is that there's a lot of green finance ongoing. So Proxtera and GFI, working with international organizations like IFC, UNDP, World Bank, and many other big digital banks like the Annex and so on. What we try to do is to bring the message that transition finance is important. You could get transition credit, you could get financing, and transition credit is going to reduce your cost of transition to a more climate-focused activities of the company. So all these education programs with certification, they're helping them. We hope to do more to empower them.
All right, so it's education that is key to moving forward there. David, we've covered a wealth of topics and trends during the interview. Thank you so much for sharing your insights, and it's got us really excited for Singapore Fintech Festival. But we'll leave it there for now. Thank you very much and have a fantastic event.
Thank you very much for having me.